Almost every year, new or updated cars come to the Imsa grid, and 2024 will be no different. In 2023, we saw the addition of a brand new class in Imsa, featuring the likes of Acura, BMW, Cadillac, and Porsche, who all brought their LMDH spec cars to the party. Meanwhile, in the GTD ranks, there were a couple of additions that much more closely resembled their road-going variant. We saw Lamborghini bring an updated Huracan, Ferrari brought their new 296, and Porsche also showed up with their new 911 GT3 R. 2024 is set to feature 4 new cars on the Imsa grid, with the first one being the Corvette Z06 GT3 R. Yes, after competing for many years in the GTLM class and more recently the GTD Pro class with their grandfathered entry, a brand new purpose-built GT3 Corvette is coming to Imsa. Earlier this year, Corvette revealed their new Z06 GT3R for the whole world to see, and the car, which looks to build on Corvette's storied history, will hit the Imsa grid for the first time at the 2024 Rolex 24. It won't be limited to just Imsa though. The car will also be competing in other categories around the world, such as the WEC, as well as the SRO, and specifically the GT World Challenge America series. In Imsa though, there will be 4 Corvettes on the grid. 2 of those cars will be run by Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports, where the number 3 will feature Antonio Garcia, Alexander Sims, and Danny Hunkadea. Meanwhile, the number 4 Corvette will see Tommy Milner, Nicky Katzberg, and Earl Bamber pilot it. Now, this is a big change for Pratt Miller Motorsports, of course. They were previously the full factory outfit, and ultimately they were Corvette Racing, but now things are changing slightly. They will be just a factory-supported operation and still running the Corvettes in the GTD Pro class. This move from a full factory outfit to just a factory-supported operation is very in line with what we've seen in recent years from other manufacturers such as Porsche and BMW. And while it won't be a full factory outfit like we've seen in recent years, the cars will still feature that iconic yellow livery. There just might be a couple more sponsor logos thrown on there. The other 2 Corvettes that will feature on the Imsa grid will be run in the Pro-Am GTD class. And unlike the Pratt Miller Motorsport entries, they will be customer entries. The cars will be fielded by AWA, who for the past 2 seasons have competed in Imsa's LMP3 class, most notably winning the 2023 Rolex 24 in the LMP3 class. The number 13 will be driven by Ore Fadani and Matt Bell, with Lars Kern joining them for the Michelin Endurance Cup races, while the number 17 will be driven by Anthony Mantella and Nico Verone for the full season, with Thomas Merrill joining the Michelin Endurance Cup races and Charlie Eastwood racing with the team in the Rolex 24. Now, as I mentioned, this new Corvette will replace the outgoing C8R, which was a grandfathered GTLM spec car that had the performance just dialed back a bit to be more in line with the GT3 performance levels. A former competitor of Corvettes in that GTLM class will be rejoining the Imsa grid next year with their brand new GT3 car. Yes, Ford will be joining Corvette on the grid as they focus on a 2-car GTD Pro campaign. The Multimatic built car will debut in Imsa in 2024 with a 2-car effort by Ford Multimatic Motorsports. The car, which looks great and features a 5.4-liter Coyote V8 engine, signals Ford's return to the WeatherTech Championship for the first time since 2019, when they raced with the Ford GT in the GTLM class. Ford Performance also recently announced their full season driver lineups for their GTD Pro campaign. In the number 64, Mike Rockenfeller and Harry Tinknell have been confirmed as full season drivers, while in the number 65 it will be Joey Hand joined by Dirk Mueller. There are of course still some drivers to be confirmed in the entries here, but regardless, this is a very strong full season lineup for Ford's return to Imsa. Hand and Mueller have had a long and successful relationship with the Ford GT, I mean, they racked up 5 wins in IMSA, including a Rolex 24. And then, of course, you can't forget that Le Mans win in 2016 either. But don't sleep on Harry Tincknell and Rocky either. Tincknell himself is a 4-time winner with Ford. And Rocky is a pretty decorated sports car racer as well, having won Le Mans a couple times, as well as a Rolex 24 in there. They're not going to be the only Ford that's on the grid for the Rolex, though. Proton Competition will be bringing their GTD entry just for the Rolex 24. Well, at least it's believed to only be for the Rolex 24, just kind of be a one-off entry at this point, but we haven't heard of any drivers that have yet been confirmed for that entry. In case you missed it, Off in the S's recently launched merch. There's hats, hoodies, shirts, and stickers to choose from, and I think they make a pretty great addition to your race weekend wardrobe. You can check out the merch shop by clicking on the link in the description. Aston Martin is going to be bringing a new car to the IMSA grid next year, but it's not going to be the Valkyrie. Yes, the Valkyrie LMH isn't set to hit the IMSA grid until 2025, but they're still going to be bringing a new car to IMSA for the 2024 season. The Vantage GT3, which is currently run in the GTD Pro and GTD classes of IMSA, will receive an Evo kit update in time for the Rolex 24. The car, which is being developed under the Evo regulations, will feature the same chassis and engine as the previous spec car. The new car, which was spotted testing a short while ago, was captured by Alex O'Donnell and features subtle differences from the current model. There currently are slated to be 3 Vantages on the 2024 IMSA grid, with the first one being run in the GTD Pro class by the number 23 Heart of Racing team. That entry is set to be driven by returning drivers Ross Gunn and Alex Riberas, to go along with newcomer to the team, Mario Farnbacher. The sister entry for them, which will run in GTD under the number 27, will feature the returning Roman DeAngelis as a full-season driver, and he'll be joined at the Rolex by Ian James, Marco Sorensen, and Zachary Robichon. Interestingly, the team has not yet confirmed who the AM-level driver is that will be joining DeAngelis for the full season. And the third Aston Martin that will be featured on the grid is Magnus Racing. Andy Lally and his 5 Rolex wins will join up with Spencer Pompelli and John Potter, and while the team was listed as a full season entry, they have yet to confirm who their full season driver lineup will be. We couldn't talk about new cars coming to the IMSA grid without talking about the new Lamborghini, right? Yes, the new addition to the GTP grid next year will be a sole Lamborghini SC63 that's run by Iron Lynx. Earlier this year at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, Lamborghini unveiled their LMDH competitor that will contest most of the Michelin Endurance Cup Series races, as well as the full-season World Endurance Championship. It was unveiled sporting a sharp green livery similar to the one that has been sporting in the GTD Pro class of IMSA this year. And personally, I think it immediately joins the conversation as being one of the best looking entries in the class. Now, unfortunately, the SC63 is set to miss the season opening Rolex 24 and instead join the IMSA grid for the second round of the season at Sebring. So this still means that they'll get to race in 4 of the 5 Michelin Endurance Cup Series races at least. And this will be the only car on the GTP grid that's featuring a Ligier chassis, and it'll also be sporting a brand new twin-turbo V8 engine. We also now know one of the drivers that's confirmed to be running the car in IMSA as Andrea Caldarelli. It was recently announced at the awards ceremony for the Super Trofeo World Finals that he would be one of the drivers competing in IMSA. There, it was also confirmed that Danny Kvyat would be driving in the World Endurance Championship, as well as Mirko Bortolotti. Now, you'll also recall that Romain Grosjean is also part of the factory stable for Lamborghini. It seems very likely that he will be one of the drivers selected for the IMSA program.
Hi guys, Editor Stu here. Today it was announced, while I'm editing this video of course, that Matteo Cairoli and Romain Grosjean will be the additional 2 drivers in that IMSA ride. Anyways, back to it.
But it should be noted that he does have an IndyCar conflict on the same weekend as the Sail in 6 Hours of the Glen that would prevent him from being present for the race. However, only 2 drivers are needed in the GTP class, so Lamborghini may just opt for a 2-car lineup for that race. Regardless of who is selected as the additional drivers for that IMSA program though, Lamborghini is going to have a strong driver lineup in IMSA. In fact, there's a ton of very strong driver lineups that they're going to be going up against in the GTP class next year, and you can check out all of the lineups that have been confirmed in IMSA for 2024 right here. Huge shout out to all of the Patreon supporters. If you too want to support the show, get a behind the scenes taste as to what goes on at Off in the S's, then you can head to patreon.com/Off in the S's. Once again though, thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great race weekend and doesn't go off in the S's.